2 hours. I'm pretty deflated.
Jeez. Did you expect to get paid, too?
2 weeks ago, you said the pause or the whole show.
Well, you got an hour, man. You should be happy to get an hour.
JP, you know, who's never really got much to say.
Well, you listen.
Give me a chance to take a crack at him.
Well, we're going to be comparing what you have to say with what he had to say, and we'll have the results at the at midnight. Okay?
I'll tell you something.
Just be pause. Tell us something after the at 11:06. Okay, when you come back. The pauser is coming up in hour 2. In the meantime, news is next. Greg Kraft and Joel Edwards are 6 under. They share the lead.
I'm a little bit worried now. The pauser seems very subdued.
He's very down.
He might be back on his medicine.
Oh, no. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll have to ask him that. All right, here it is. The moment you've been waiting for.
And now... The pauser.
You've listened to him for years on this station and other stations. Heck, I even heard him on Jim Rome's show one time. You love to hate him. His name is the Pauser. How's it going tonight, Pauser?
Not too bad. Actually, I don't know where you get this, the guy that people love to hate, because every time somebody hears my voice in a supermarket or something, they ask me if I'm the Pauser, and the crowd gathers. I've never had anybody say, you know, I've never liked you. I think you have an inflated opinion of your
we'll find out
knowledge or understanding of the game of hockey. In other words, all I get is waves, Donnie. True story. Waves of love. Everybody I meet, almost to a person, is very fond of the Pauser. So where you get this love to hate? I know what I know where you get it from. You get it from your colleagues, because I have kicked the pee-pee out of just about every media person in this town, because quite often they make me ill. I think there's way too much kissing going on in this town by the media, and consequently everybody's running around saying we got this hockey club that's really going somewhere, when in truth I don't believe it is. And as a matter of fact, the only thing they can do is censor the Pauser. Because
you're not being censored. We're giving you a chance to talk tonight.
Donnie, you deserve a huge applause, because you do have the instincts to let the Pauser speak.
Okay, now let's do some factual information here, okay? Pauser, just before we get into the phone calls. 604-280-9898, by the way. What's your sports?
Start with a love life.
What's your sports? Okay, yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Sure. Have you ever had?
Don't let me interrupt you again. Don't ever let me interrupt you again.
Oh yeah. Have you ever had sex?
That's as bad as being asked if I'm related to Timothy in West Van. That's what somebody asked me.
Hey, listen.
Some guy from NW called me and asked me that.
Okay, listen, you
yes,
pop off.
I'm 52.
I don't want to know that.
52.
Listen.
I was on the road for 12 years. I'd travel for a year, come home for a year, go away for 2.
Where did you go?
So I, frankly, have been intimate with a woman from about 8 different countries in Europe and many different states in the United States of America. I traveled in my Dodge window van, lived on 35 different college campuses, had my Wilson P2000, attended major tennis tournaments.
What's a Wilson P2000?
Tennis racket.
Tennis racket.
Jimmy Connors. I got it about 3 weeks after Jimmy got his.
Mm-hmm.
Had my hockey equipment, had fine threads, looked good, in shape. Lived on numerous college campuses.
Well, what, were you getting booted off those college campuses?
No,
Why
like
so many?
The University of Miami, California Irvine, UCLA, Loyola Marymount, where the Lakers practiced.
Mm-hmm.
Furnished the Lakers with some fabulous...
What were you doing? What was the reason for
Listen, I love the...
By the way, the full board is just full.
I'm sorry, I missed your last 10 words. I love the freedom of it.
Don't worry about it. So you were a hippie.
Co-eds were a highlight.
You were a hippie. You were a flower child.
Oh, indeed. I was in San Francisco when it was all going down. I went down there just...
That doesn't surprise me for some reason.
With a flower in your hair. I'll never forget my sister-in-law saying...
Did Foster just say he was going down in San Francisco?
No, I went to San Fran when flower power was happening.
Uh-huh.
And then the energy shifted to Boulder, Colorado. All the intellects and counterculture...
I'm falling asleep. Let's get to your sports background. You pop off, you pretend you know so much.
What do you mean pretend?
What's your sports background? What sports have you actually played? You mentioned tennis.
I played Little League. I played baseball from age 7 to 18. Little League, Babe Ruth, Connie Mack made the All-Star team every year in my last year.
You played Little League baseball when you were 18?
Oh, hot. Like, you know, like there's about 12 teams and they select an All-Star team. They want Mr. Pauser at second base.
Okay, this is when you were 7.
Babe Ruth, same thing. Now we're going to select an All-Star team. Every kid in the league is on pins and needles. Always selected. In fact, I was a spiritual leader of our Little League team. As far as I was concerned, we were going to Williamsport for the Little League World Series.
Right.
And everybody better believe it. We're practicing 2 practices a day in Little League. 2-hour practices, I think. They're long ones. Spiritual leader.
Okay, and what other sports have you played?
Hockey, age 7 to 20. Played for Ron Matthews, who played for the Canucks. Had a little bit of a coaching from Alex Shabicki.
Yeah, former New York
Coach
Ranger.
Ronnie.
Yeah.
He came in one game and coached us. Fabulous. Very super coaching by Shabicki. Ron Matthews was a real honor and pleasure to play for Ronnie for 2 or 3 years.
But never
Captain of the
But never.
just a minute. Player vote.
You played junior hockey,
Just a
Pauser.
minute. Player vote.
This is going to be a
Who do they
shout
vote
fest.
for captain of the Coquitlam Comets?
Pardon me?
Who do they vote for captain?
Okay, what level was
Some
this?
of the best players in the Lower Mainland. Who do they select?
What level was this?
Player vote.
What level?
Junior B. in those days, Junior B was like BC. No, not quite BC Junior Hockey League, but it was good.
Yeah. Okay, what other
Basketball,
sports?
junior high school team, starting guard. Volleyball, Lower Mainland junior high school team 1. I was a very significant leader. Made sure everybody was ready. Ping pong, Golden Bat, Caribou Hill, best player in the school.
Oh, you know what? You and Connors have something in common because he also won a golden bat, but it's for another sport.
No, okay, the bat wasn't all gold. Just it was plated on the handle with gold.
Okay.
Embossed.
The golden handle. Is that what you're saying, Pauser?
You say I pretend to know hockey. This is a joke. Father David Bauer, hockey school, UBC, attended. I played, like I say, from age 7 to 20. I studied the game passionately for 45 years. Every LA King home game for a year and a half, attended. Every Toronto Maple Leaf game for 3 years, attended. Every away game, studied on TV, satellite, if need be. As far as Burke and Tambellini and Crawford,
Okay, we're getting off subject here now,
put them
Pauser.
all in a room, watch 5 minutes of videotape, I will have more insight than all of them put together.
What happened to the golden bat?
Make sure you got what I said. I said all of them put together. I firmly believe that. Anytime they want to try me, I'll literally wipe the floor with all of them, including Tambellini, who probably thinks he knows the game now. As a scout, now that Gretzky's got him on board, I straightened Tambellini out a few times on hockey players.
Really? Like who?
Kirk McLean.
Yeah, what about him?
Tambellini did an interview before McLean was traded. He expressed his confidence that Kirk could do the job. I bumped into him down at 8 Rings. I said, just a minute, Mr. Tambellini. You're telling this city that Kirk McLean can do the job, will do the job? I said, you're wrong. So I've been, nobody has analyzed McLean's game as astutely as myself. I said, guess what? He said, listen, Pauser. He says, I gotta say that. I said, just a minute. When you say that, all it does is reduce your stock with me and the intelligentsia in the city, the guys who know the game. So never mind that.
Okay.
And then I said, okay, so here's what happens. So boom.
This story's
a
going.
short time later,
It's
they
getting
trade,
boring. Come on.
Okay, I know we got so much time. A short time later, they trade McLean. What does he do? He goes to 2 or 3 cities and shows that he can't do it.
Where'd you get the nickname Pauser?
I used to call in when the show first started 15 years ago.
Talking with Dan.
Just a minute. When I first came on, Dan was totally back on his heels. My critique of the Canuck management was so stinging, biting, and brilliant that Dan wasn't sure that he should let me go on because he knew he'd have to answer to Quinn and Company. So he'd rush me. At first, he just wanted to let me on a little bit because he wasn't sure that this was going to wash well with the people that he sees every day. Typical Dan Russell. So the more he rushed me, the more dead air I gave him. Then finally, when I would call the show, I could hear sense, a red flag going up in the studio, all the scurrying, etc. And finally I heard Dan yell over to Woodgate, what's going on? In other words, he could tell something was going on heavy. And Woodgate just sort of, all he could do is say, it's a Pauser. Woodgate coined the word at that time.
Okay. All right, Pauser, hang tight. We've got some of your background here. It's been fabulous, needless to say. Now we're going to let the folks have at you. 604-280-9898. You want to talk to the Pauser? Here's your chance. Back after this.
Right now at Coast.
I grew up stone's throw from Queens Park in U.S. Minster up till age 8. Then I moved to Burnaby, lived right across the street from Robert Burnaby Park. My grandmother owned a lot of the land around there, so she sold off some of the land. And between her backyard and our backyard, it was a focal point for the neighborhood for baseball, soccer, you name it. In fact, the Card family will attest to that because they had about 800, I don't know. They had many a baseball in their backyard because they finally started to just keep the balls rather than throw them back because they declared that it was unacceptable after a point in time. So they kept all the balls, put them in the basement. I went in the basement one day and got all the balls.
Oh, great.
Hey, Donnie, my sports background, I played minor soccer. Played with some great people.
Okay, we're continuing the sports background now.
And I played minor lacrosse.
Lacrosse as well.
Yeah.
There's not many sports. I mean, even ping pong you mentioned. You've played them all.
Indeed.
Now, what about your idols growing up? Who did you idolize?
Wayne Goss, lacrosse. Hockey. I like Makita. I like Joe Kapp a lot when he was...
Joe Kapp, okay.
No, I mean, the obvious ones. Gretzky, of course.
Yeah.
Marcel Dion. A lot of the guys I admire. The people in this town are too stunned to bring them in. It makes me sick. They want to rehire Larscheid for a 3-year deal. There's Mike Bossy. I'd love to see Bossy doing the color here.
Well, maybe he doesn't want to move here.
I'd love to see Gilbert Perreault come and do the color if they could offer him some money. Reggie Leach. But, you know, they want to... Are even doing this talk show. It's a hockey town. They don't bring in a Hall of Famer. There's many of them that would love to do the show. They recycle Dan Russell.
Could you do the show? Could you do the show, Bossy?
You know why they do it? Because the guys like JP, they got to get rid of him too, and this Plasteris who's hiring all these Pattersons, who's a lightweight. And a huge.
Could you do the job? Could you do the job?
What?
Could you do this job?
I would be 50 times more entertaining than that mealy-mouthed, wordy Brooke Ward, and Jeff Patterson's another consummate brown-noser. I'm it in this hockey town, but you know what? I would defer. I'd quit the job if Bossy said, I'll do the job. Hire me and then start looking for a Hall of Famer and I'll resign. I'll do the honorable thing.
Here's the big question. Do you have a job at the present time?
No.
Well, how do you get by?
Well, I was told by a great man not to broadcast my finances. His name was Gus Lafluer, and he's right. It's not wise to broadcast your finances.
This is a relative of yours.
I live the life of Riley on a shoestring.
I'm not sure what that means, but okay.
Let's just put it this way. I'm working on a couple of very, very wonderful projects that you're going to be the beneficiary of.
Oh, okay, all right.
You're going to be able to hear me over your telephone. I'm going to send messages.
How am I going to benefit from that?
This is the biggest scoop in town right now.
Okay.
I am going to send messages into the people's voicemails. With a computer, you can send thousands of messages. Okay? You're going to get up in the morning, someday during the day, you're going to call and hear your voicemail. There's going to be 4 or 5 messages from the Pauser on there. And when you can't get enough of me, I'm going to cut you off. And then I'll
tell you what, that'll decrease the population here. No, that's one thing.
No, then do you know what's going to happen? Then you're going to call back and say, Pauser, you got me. And you're going to give me your Visa number. Then you're going to hear me. Then you're going to get my messages, but you're going to pay. And not only are you going to get my messages, in every hockey city in North America, they're going to get my messages. It's Paul, I want your money, Lafluer. That's my new name, never mind the Pauser.
That's your real name, of course, Paul.
I'm up front, I want your money.
Are you related to Guy Lafluer?
Not to my knowledge. I met a guy in Toronto who told me, listen, he said 3 Lafleurs came from France. He said, everything you've told me, this guy had the family tree, the whole deal. He met Guy, he had the family tree. He said, everything you've told me tells me that you are a descendant from one of the 3 Lafleurs, the one that went to Ottawa, which Guy is also. He said, so if you were to go way, way, way back, he said, I believe, from what you've told me, you're probably related to Guy. One went to the U.S., one went to Ottawa, and the other one, I think, went to Toronto or something.
What do you think you and Guy have in common?
There's no player that I've ever seen play the game that I identified with more than Guy. He reminds me, his mindset, his demeanor, his passion, he reminds me also of my brother Robert. Everything very much about him.
Okay, now pause here. Just hang on a second here. Now we're going to go to the calls. You ready for this?
Of course I am.
Let's go to Hartley in Richmond. Hi, Hartley.
Good evening. Good evening, Pauser.
How you doing? I've heard you many times, Hartley.
Thanks, Pauser. Now, there's one thing that I got to ask you, and maybe you can get on the radio with Burke. One of the reasons why you won't get on the radio with Burke is because you constantly criticize the guy and talk down to him. You're a very negative guy, Pauser. You do make some good points sometimes. But can I ask you one thing? Have Mark Crawford and Brian Burke done something good? Because if you compliment Burke, maybe he'll let you go on the radio. Something that all you ever did with Quinn was run him out of town and tell him how horrible he was when he took over a team in 1991 that almost missed the playoffs with Bob McCammon. And the next year, he brings the team to first place. And then the following year, 101 points the Canucks have for the first time in 15 years. Is that not good enough for you, Pauser?
Okay. Number one, I have at times said very, very fine things about Brian Burke. I've always said I enjoy him immensely. One of my favorite people as far as to listen to be interviewed. I've always said he's an excellent administrator. I've always said that terribly interesting. I've acknowledged he's bright. I think he's got a tremendous sense of humor. I quite love him. However, this is the best league in the world, and I don't think he knows the game well enough or understands the game well enough to hold the position that he holds. I've only articulated his performance as a general manager, and it's always a constructive criticism, and I have acknowledged a few things. It's been extremely rare that Brian has done that I appreciate it. As far as Pat Quinn, Pat, I think he's very overrated as a hockey man. I think that, yes, he did start to win after I hammered him for years to bring Ronnie to town, and so they brought Ronnie to town. He got them in the playoffs, him and Courtnall and the group they brought from St. Louis.
I can't believe it.
And then Pat Quinn got rid of Ronnie and got nothing for him. Bad management. Sakic took me aside of the rocks. He said, I can't believe Quinn got nothing for Ronnie. It's true.
Hold on a sec, pause there. Sakic took you aside.
That's right.
So you're
What's
close
so shocking about that?
You're close with Joe.
I talk to Joe. If I'm at summer hockey, he's been known to say, where's the pauser? Like, why isn't he here? Get him, No, Joe likes a pauser. He puts his arm around me at the rocks. He walks me out to the bar. He says, calls the bartender and says, I don't want this man to pay for anything tonight. That's the way Joe treats the pauser. He's listened to the pauser. It's what I used to call his home once in a while.
You're hanging out at the Roxy?
His father's
Mario.
Terrific guy.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
I used to talk to him once in a while.
But you hang out at the Roxy?
I used to more. No, I haven't for years.
Okay.
I used to go there on a regular basis after the games. And as a matter of fact, the night that Joey was there with the Avalanche, that was just a terrific evening. And they took the pauser into the fold in a big way.
So you're an honorary Avalanche.
Oh yeah, it was quite the night. Joey, of course, everybody I think knows.
Okay, you love everybody from Burnaby, so that's the one thing I don't mind about you. Let's go to Mason in Poco. Hey, Mason.
How you doing?
Good.
Hey, Paul.
How you doing?
Good.
Mason.
Yeah, how you doing, Paul?
Do I know you, Mason?
Yeah, I know who you are. You come into the restaurant, buddy. I just want to know about lacrosse, how much lacrosse you played and where you played it.
I played in Burnaby, South Burnaby. I played up until, I think I played about 3 or 4 years, and then we had to make a decision to either continue playing lacrosse or play baseball, because the practice was coinciding, and it was in some ways it was an easy decision because I wasn't that, I was always one of the smaller players. My younger brother Rob, I'm very proud of. He's the MVP of the Lower Mainland in his Bantam or whatever it was.
Right.
And a picture in the paper. All the MVPs, Wayne Goss,
What years
Rob Lafluer. I know the game inside out. What do you want to know about lacrosse?
I just want to know what years you played and...
I'm 52. I played, I think, about age 8, 9, 10, I think.
And it was all with the Lakers.
At that time...
South Burnaby, yeah. And there was Norburn and South Burnaby.
Richmond Park. We played against...
Hey, Mason, hold on a sec, Pauser.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, when the Pauser comes into the restaurant, Mason, what does he usually order?
He has halibut, he has cod, he has oysters. He orders everything.
Oh, this is the owner.
He's a pain.
This is the owner.
Yeah.
Listen.
So then we learned something else. You like fish.
Hey, listen, Mason. Does
Yeah.
your daddy let you give anybody credit now? Are you old enough?
Well,
enough?
This guy's giving you free fish, Pazzer, and you're chopping him.
I came in the restaurant. I said, I want to eat. Then I want to go visit my mother. I'll come back and pay you after. Well, I don't know whether my dad would like that.
Okay.
Mason, grow up.
Yeah, well, whatever. When you come into a restaurant, you should have money,
Hey, listen.
right?
I will say one.
Has he ever dined and dashed on you, Mason?
Oh, he's tried to, you know.
Hey, Mason, don't lie. I'll
Whatever.
tell you one thing about Mason. He's actually quite the man. He runs that restaurant like he should get an award. I'll tell you what, best fish and chips in Lower Mainland.
What's the name of the restaurant?
Sea Lovers Fish and Chips.
Sea Lovers Fish and Chips.
is good too, but Sea Lovers, very, very nice.
All right, let's go to Andrew in Vancouver. Hi, Andrew.
Oh, hello, gentlemen.
Hi, Andrew.
I don't have a question to pose. I just want to say a thing about you. I mean, thank you very much for your excellent job.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really sorry to see you going.
Oh,
Good luck.
That, Andrew.
Hate to see Dan coming back. And to Pauser, I mean, just a comment. The only thing you are intimate with is your hand, Pauser. You're a clown.
Any reaction?
Well, good for
Pazzer?
him. Good for keep him on. Get him back on the line.
Okay, Andrew, you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, what do you got?
Hey,
What else?
Andrew.
Yeah.
Don't get
It's
now.
not
Keep
my
it clean,
fault,
guys.
Hey, Andrew, it's not my fault if when I talk hockey, 98% of it goes over your head. How many Canuck games did you see last year, on TV or live?
I don't count those.
Yeah, because maybe you're too busy fooling with your hand. Listen.
Well, this is.
I don't count. What kind of a man are you? I don't count, Pauser. I couldn't begin to tell you. Do you have a brain? Approximately how many games did you see?
This is not about games I saw. This is about you.
About games I saw. You're a goddamn phony.
Okay,
Don't
take
waste
it
your
easy, Pazzer. Let's go to Wilson in Vancouver.
No more
Let's go to Wilson in Vancouver. Hey, Wilson, go ahead.
Hi, Don.
Relax, Pazzer. Take it easy.
Oh, well, these guys make me sick.
Hi, Don.
Hi, Wilson.
I don't have a problem listening to the Pauser, but I just have a couple of suggestions for him.
Keep it clean, buddy.
Yeah, well, Pauser, next time you call Jim Rome, you might want to say you're calling from Toronto, because
He embarrassed you, did he?
you embarrassed our city big time, man.
It went over your head, buddy.
What happened there, Pazzer? You called
It was a
Rome.
tremendous call. I discoursed.
I heard it was not tremendous. I heard he cut you right off.
What?
I heard he cut you
I
off.
went on for a long time, and then it wasn't Jim who cut me off. It was his phone man. He calls him Whitey. He said, Whitey brought the hammer down on you? He said, I wouldn't. Now, Whitey, probably an American who doesn't know the game that well, I was going to the finer points of fighting in the National Hockey League. As far as this twit talking about embarrassing Vancouver, if I would ask this guy, quiz him as to his knowledge vis-a-vis the game of hockey, this guy would get about a 1 out of 10. I guarantee it. As most of the people who put the Pauser down, as soon as you start asking them about what they know about the game, they come up more than just short.
How do you know so much? I mean, you played till you're 20.
I told you. I studied the game passionately for 45 years.
We've all watched it for...
No, not like the Pauser.
What do you like? You study
Not
24
like the
hours a
Pauser.
day?
Oh, a ton.
Let's go to Dan in Kamloops. Hi, Dan.
Hey, how's it going,
Just a minute. Ron, hey, just a minute,
Yeah,
Taylor.
what?
You're supposed to have your ear to the ground. For 15 years, who's been out with the pros every summer when they're preparing to go to training camp? Did you know the Pauser was out with the pros every summer?
I've seen you there.
No, every summer for 15 years, walking in the dressing room.
You're always talking to somebody. You're never even
never
watching
mind.
anything going on the ice.
Did you ever phone me in those 15 years to say, Pauser, what do you hear, what do you know? The hockey season's coming up. You've been in the dressing room with all the pros, players from every team. Did any of the media ever call me to...
Stupidly, I would ask the players,
You know why? This town excels in hiring stun types in the media. Guys who shouldn't have...
Hey, now, if you're going to insult people, especially me or the Beast, you're
true.
off, okay?
It's true. It's full of people who don't really know the game or have the...
Well, this is my point, Ponzo. Why, if you know so much, why didn't you get a broadcasting degree or a journalism
like
degree
JP
and get into the business?
'Cause
There's other
JP
stations other than NW. Don't be knocking JP now.
Oh, I will knock him big time. The only reason he hires guys like Patterson and Ward is because they kiss his rump and keep him in the game. And the reason he hires Larscheid for 3 years, because Larscheid will give him the airtime. He'll go on the road with the Canucks and do the color. when he doesn't belong anywhere
pause
near.
it. Let Dan go ahead now. You.
JP doesn't belong anywhere near the color.
Let's hear what Dan has to say.
Hold on a minute. Okay, I do respect some of the things you say, but you sit here and you say that 98% of the things that you say go over people's heads. They don't go over my head. And I can tell you something right now, I am a heavyweight. Because you can ask all my friends. I picked the last 8 Stanley Cup champions, and believe me, I can get a signed affidavit for that. Okay? So don't sit here and accuse everybody of being lightweights or heavyweights.
I was talking about particular
people.
Come on. Just a
minute. Pause or let Dan finish. He's getting his time here, okay?
And I'll listen to you. Don't worry. Okay, for you to come on and say the Canucks are going nowhere is an insult not only to the city, but it's an insult to the organization, because the organization is going somewhere. Could you imagine having the depth that defense that this team has? Other teams would kill for it.
Their defense is hurting. You don't know the game. I don't know who you are. And I'll tell you something else. When I said 90% of the people who put the pauser down don't know the game, okay? Now, as far as you are you're talking about the defense. Who are you going to rave about? You're going to rave about Barahowski, Brian Burke's big acquisition?
I'm not.
He can't play the game. Do you understand?
Barahowski can play the game.
Just a minute.
If he couldn't play the game, he wouldn't be in the NHL.
Okay, just a minute.
Okay, well, hold on.
He can't play on a.
How can you respond to that?
He can't play in a contender.
And hold on. Now, hold on. Here's my other point.
Just a minute. He cannot play in a contender, Barahowski. Too many bad penalties, turnovers. He couldn't play in Nashville. He couldn't play in Toronto. It's a bad acquisition by Burke. And now tell me about Sopel. Let's talk about the defense. Now, this kid's overrated too, this Sopel. Now talk about Jovanovski.
Well, don't tell us why Sopel's overrated in your opinion.
Because he's too much of a turnover man. And he has a little trouble skating. And he's just not the player. He wouldn't play in my hockey club.
All right.
This club, as far as going nowhere, I'm sensitive to they're fine young men. They're trying to do their best. They don't need somebody raining on their parade unfairly or unjustly. I'm analyzing with an eye to building a winner, okay? If you're going to build a winner...
So you get Steve Correa, who can't crack any NHL team, and no NHL teams are lining up to trade for this guy because he's the greatest thing since sliced cheese, of course.
Okay, just a minute. You called last night... Just a minute, Dan.
He's so small.
Dan, you called last night, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're the guy who's really going to take the Pauser to school. Okay, just a minute. You said last night on the air, Pauser, if Steve Correa is so terrific, why aren't teams trying to trade for him?
Exactly.
Now, how do you know that teams haven't tried to trade for him? How do you know that? Do you know Brian Burke?
Do you think Brian Burke wouldn't let him go?
No, just a minute. How do you know teams have not tried to trade for him?
Do you think Brian Burke is that
He would be very hesitant to let him go. After the way I've talked about Correa, Brian Burke privately will be thinking...
He'll never make it.
Privately, Burke's thinking the Pauser may well be right about this guy, in which case...
I'm sure in his quiet moments
I'll tell you what,
that.
the day they deal Korea, he'll come back and haunt them. Now, you made a statement, just a minute, Dan, you made a statement that how come teams are not trying to trade for him? That suggests to me that you know Tambellini or Burke, and you know for a fact that teams have not tried to trade for him. Do you know that? Do you know for a fact that nobody's tried to trade for Korea?
I know for a fact.
How do you know that?
Because I have connections, just as you have connections. But believe me, I do. And no.
Okay, who's told you? Okay, who's told you that?
Listen.
Okay, you guys, we've had enough of this argument. We got to take a break. We're running out of time here. We'll be back with more of the Pauser after this. Tony and Langley, you're on the grill with the Pauser.
Hey, hello.
Hello, Tony.
Okay, my question is, what's the relationship? What happened to the relationship between you and Dan Russell? Like,
hey, just a minute, Tony. Speak up. I can barely hear you.
okay, sorry.
Oh, now you're going to put the phone near your mouth? How old are you, Tony?
Tony, you there?
Yeah.
How old are you, Tony?
21. Why?
Okay, it's time you learn to put the microphone by your mouth. I hate people who have it down by their...
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay.
Don't give in to him, Tony. Come right back at him.
What's your question, Tony?
My question is, like, what happened to the relationship between you and Dan Russell? I said Dan Russell is the one who made you.
The relationship. Dan Russell, the relationship's always great because oil and water, the clash is beautiful. It'll always be good with Dan, but I don't respect him as a man because he practiced censorship way too often, unfairly, unjustly with me. Wouldn't put me on with Quinn or Burke for 5-6 years. He's a fascist pig. Nobody should shake his hand because, frankly, he would have made a good lieutenant for Adolf Hitler because he's a brown-noser in my view, and it was poetic justice when Brian Burke and him had the falling out because he acquiesced to Burke and would not put me on. I was on the phone board 50 times to talk to Brian Burke. Burke knew it. Burke says he ducks nobody. He ducked me all those years. He's always ducked me. And Dan Russell, I believe, even when Burke was hired by McCaw, for that period when Burke was lobbying hard and doing all the interviews, Russell wouldn't let me on the air, and I have a hunch Burke influenced him. Dan, nothing's happened to it because there never will be a relationship because he's just proved to me that he doesn't. I don't believe he has journalistic integrity.
Okay, let's go to Mark in Surrey. Mark, go ahead. You're on the grill with the Pauser.
Hi. Yeah, Pauser, if you're talking about heavyweights, I'm your man.
Then put the microphone up to your mouth so I can hear you and speak up.
Can you hear this now, Pauser?
Yeah, no, keep it going.
All right. I'm talking about you and your inferiority complex with your own size. That's why you keep on rooting for the underdog like Korean Ronning because of your own little short stature. What do you think about that?
Well, I have a fondness for a man who can excel in this big man's game. It makes me admire these guys
because
even
you're
more.
5'5" yourself.
When I played junior hockey, I was 5'10", 130 pounds. Okay.
Now, okay, go ahead.
But to put it in that category reflects badly on your character, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh man, I've been listening to you for 15 years, Pauser. I know exactly what the kind of guy you are. This is the first time I've actually talked to you.
Okay, if you can't...
So, let's put it this way. I know you a hell of a lot more than you know me.
That's probably true.
Oh, that is a whole lot true.
Have you ever met me live?
No, but I know that.
Well, you can't appreciate
for somebody that to go and basically stock the NHL players and the NHL Vancouver management and Vancouver players. You don't have no life, man. I mean,
what did you say?
What are you doing stalking these guys?
So just a minute. Sorry, would you use the word stalk? What's that about?
Stock. I mean, you're following them around.
Where? When?
You're at golf tournaments.
You've never seen me.
Go to lunch and
you just said to me you've never seen me live.
You're in the kitchen, serving them.
Hey, son, you just said you've never seen me live. Okay? I used to go to the Roxy a lot. I stalked nobody.
Yeah, that was about 10 years ago, man, when you were like about 50 pounds lighter.
No, listen, Donnie, this guy's bad news. He wants to use the word stalk. It's totally inappropriate. As a matter of fact, if he can't appreciate Fleury the way he plays the game, Paul Correa, Steve Correa, Cliff Ronning, Pat LaFontaine, not the biggest, then it's too bad.
You don't consider yourself a stalker.
What?
You're not a stalker. You don't consider yourself a stalker.
Listen, I go to the summer hockey because I've coached many a player that's played the National Hockey League and the minor leagues. I know the game inside out. I have a lot of fun. I raise the intensity of the scrimmage. If I'm not there, they're disappointed.
Let's go to Patrick in Vancouver. Go ahead.
If this guy made it in the room, he'd open his mouth and he'd be gone.
All right, Patrick in Vancouver. Go ahead.
Hey, Don.
Hi, Patrick.
First of all...
what do you mean, hey, Don? How about hi, Pauser?
Oh, hello, Pauser.
Yeah, well, that's a little better.
I just want to say, Don, that I'm sure everybody in Vancouver appreciates what you're doing to help the mentally challenged of the Lower Mainland area by putting on a delusional man such as the Pauser. I just find it interesting that it's 2001, almost 2002, and people such as a 50-year-old unemployed virgin can finally find an outlet for their asinine comments. So,
well, you're very brilliant.
I truly wish that you'd learn to skate a little bit better, and that maybe your father paid attention to you when you weren't necessarily being a loud-mouthed ass, so that you wouldn't have to do late-night call-ins and waste our time. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, so now you live in a shack, you admit you're unemployed, and now you have to live your life vicariously by hanging out and... Unfortunately, I think the players don't realize what you're like, so they simply tolerate you like that guy who used to fold the towels for the Oilers. But
listen, it's getting late there.
Don't be knocking Joey Moss, by the way,
You gotta get up early tomorrow and go do your kiss-ass job.
What's that?
You have to get up. You better get to bed. You have to get up and go chomp on that big hairy banana, that kiss-ass job that you got.
Easy, Paz.
Was he jealous of my freedom or something?
Let's go to Jason in Burnaby.
Let's stay with this clown.
Okay, hold on a sec.
Let's stay with this clown.
Hello?
How many Canuck games did you see last year? Live or on TV?
82, not including the playoffs.
Yeah, and who do you know in the Canuck organization? Are you
Who
Matt
I know in the
Cook's
Canucks
nephew or something?
organization?
What's
Well,
that?
if you want to know the honest truth, I used to be very good friends with one of the players, but
Yeah, which one?
unfortunately he got traded.
Which one?
I don't think it's
You're
my
a gutless
name.
moron.
Okay, pause. Ease up on the, you know, if you ever got something smart to say, don't be calling people names, okay? Let's go to Jason and Burnaby.
Donnie, listen, I give to people, okay? Those who give, get, I give. I'm generous.
What do you
okay?
give? I don't
You ask
understand.
the guy one question, which player did you know well? Oh, I don't know, I'm too cool, and F off, get off the air, get that guy off.
Let's go to Jason and Burnaby.
Hi, Don. Hi, Pauser.
And hold on a sec. Before we go any further, pause here. You got to calm down, okay? Just calm down, or you're going off the air. Because I'm in control here, not you. Let's go to Jason and Burnaby.
Hi, Don. Hi, Pauser.
How you doing, Jason?
Pretty good.
Hi, Jason.
Hi, Pauser. I got one comment for you. Of all the things you say, the one thing I agree with you totally 100% is that the most overrated player in the NHL is Dan Russell's lover boy, Trevor Linden. He's totally useless. He doesn't hit. He doesn't fight. He doesn't score goals. I don't know why players build him up so much, and I totally agree with you. He's the most overrated player in the NHL.
They spoon-fed him in Vancouver. Right now, for every dollar Ronnie makes, they pay Trevor Linden too. It's the biggest stomach turner in the history of the game of hockey. When Trevor Linden pulled the Montreal jersey over his head, that diminished my regard for the National Hockey League. That was just that's hard to get over. And you want to know something else? It's guys like Taylor and all these media people in town. That's the reason that Montreal paid him $3.7, because all these A-kissers in this town, every time they would call what's going on with the Canucks, they would do, well, our leader Trevor and all this, when in truth none of them...
So Trevor Linden never had any good years
none
here
of
in
them knew the
Vancouver.
game well enough to analyze...
Never had any good years in Vancouver.
What's that?
He never had any good years in Vancouver. He was never an effective player here in Vancouver.
For the ice time he got, there's players that would have outplayed him if they had the same ice.
Yeah, well, apparently a lot of people disagreed with you, including the people who had him on Team Canada several times.
Yeah, well, that was a farce. To have Linden instead of Messier was a complete farce. And the goal that he scored, he was shooting low on Hasek, when everybody with a good hockey brain knows, in that situation where he was shooting from 20 feet out, it's got to go into the bar.
He was such a bad player. Why was he on the ice late in the game?
Don, it hit a stick and deflected up and went under the bar. They interviewed him after. He said, yeah, I put it upstairs. He didn't put it upstairs. It was deflected upstairs.
All right, pause. We got to take another break. Back with more of the Pause Man after this.
Right now, check the paper for the Daily Clue. Complete the secret phrase, and you could win a brand new 2001 Nissan Xterra SE. There are plenty of ways to win. Watch the...
This is the Late Night Sports Grill. In Vancouver, call 280-9898. Or long distance, dial 1-877-399-9898.
Foster, do you go to Canuck games? Do you pay to go to Canuck games?
Yes, I do, yeah. You know, Donnie, this guy that gave that little soliloquy, if that's soliloquy, that's a word. You know, he sounds like he's reading off of a page. But he doesn't want to say which. I see it sounds sharp, the pauser. I sense that he was friendly with somebody in management or a player. And sure enough, he proudly says, yes, well, I'm a friend of one of the players that's no longer playing here. Doesn't have the guts or the openness or the honesty to state the player. I have a hunch it might have been Scatchard, because I've nailed Scatchard. I ran him out of town a little bit, and a few others. Did I run your little buddy out, your player buddy out of town?
Who?
And some of these guys who think they're friends.
What player buddy?
What?
Well, who are you talking about? My player buddy?
The guy who called in.
Oh, that guy. Okay.
The point is.
Okay, we've dealt with that guy. Let's go to Dave in Delta, Pauser.
Hey, Pauser, how you doing, buddy?
Not bad.
You know what? You talk about respect a lot, right? But you know what? You don't know anything about respect. I mean, you got just a big mouth.
Give me one example.
Respect for anybody.
Give me one example.
I want to hear a psychologist on this thing and do a psychology review on you, buddy, because man, you need help.
Give me one example of where where I demonstrate a lack of respect, and for who? Give me one example.
All right, I think Dave's gone. Let's go to John.
Hey, Davey, nice run off the line.
Let's go to John in Vancouver.
Yeah, I just have a few comments to apologize.
Okay, well, one comment, John, because we're running out of time.
Okay, yeah, I want to always know...
Hey, just a minute. Put your mouth into the microphone.
Okay, I always want to know...
And speak up!
Okay, I've always wanted to know...
Don't stop. Is somebody sleeping next to you?
No, what's the...
Then speak up!
Okay, what's the scoot? Is that the position you put your boyfriend in?
Oh, Christ. Okay, next caller.
Ryan in Vancouver.
Hey, Pauser, I've been waiting a long time to talk to you, man.
Great.
I got one question for you.
Okay, keep it clean, Ryan.
All right, that's cool. I've been listening to you for about 10 years now, spouting off about the crap that you have in the Canucks. My question to you is, Pauser, you don't make the big decisions. Brian Burke makes the big decisions, right? So when you go spouting off about Brian Burke, what you don't realize is hockey is a business. They're in there to put fans in the seats, to make the money, to play the games, so we buy the tickets so that they can then go to the Stanley Cup. My question to you, Pauser, is, if you were Brian Burke, what would you be doing with the Canucks? Because you know what? You have no idea what's going on with hockey. You are a moron.
What would I do if I was the GM?
That was his question, yeah.
First thing, I'd get a goalie.
Well, that's brilliant. Everybody in town knows that.
No, they don't. People don't realize that Cloutier doesn't have it. I do, okay? I've scouted him.
Well, everybody knows.
I don't like his attitude either. I've talked to him on the phone. This guy's a little bit of a phony, and he doesn't have the right attitude. He's not going to pan out. Another mistake by Burke. So I get a goalie.
Well, you know what? Now that you've talked to him on the phone, he hasn't got a chance. He'll probably never recover from that.
On the radio, on the phone, on another show. Mike Brown, I get rid of out of the organization. This guy is a clown. He doesn't have the instincts or game sense to play the game of hockey at the National League level.
Hurry up, Paz. We're running out of time here.
Geez, we really are. First thing I do is I bring in Mike Bossy to coach. Oh, Pauser, you dummy. Why would you have Mike Bossy instead of a career minor leaguer by the name of Mark Crawford, who has a squeaky voice, cliche-ridden voice that the players tune out, just like I tune them out? Why would you bring in Mike Bossy? Then I'd fire McElharty, which is an utter joke, and I'd bring in Dennis Potvin. Oh, Pauser, why do you want a Hall of Famer to handle your defense? Because I'm a dummy. I'm a moron. Oh, Pauser. Donnie, this is way too good for you. Way too good for you, isn't it?
I don't know about that. Let me tell you something. I really don't know about that.
No, I know.
Trust me, it's not way too good for me or anyone else. Listen, we're taking a final break. Back with more of the Pauser to wrap it up after this.
When you want to know more, you rely. Back to Don Taylor's Late Night Sports Grill and Gin Bill.
And I think the Pauser is partaken of the gin mill tonight. All right, Pauser.
Donnie.
Yeah.
How's my performance tonight on a 10-point scale?
Fair to middling. It was okay.
Oh, only 6?
Yeah, I'll give it a 5.5.
What does the Beast have to say?
What do you have to say, Beast? What did you think?
9.
9.
I'm a big Pauser fan.
Donnie,
listen, if we didn't think you were good, we wouldn't have put you on tonight, okay? I'm not going to sit here and stroke your ego.
Hey, Donnie.
You know, it's big enough.
You're going to play it cool and lowball the praise. A lot of the peasants do that. Hey, Donnie, you're not a peasant, though. Donnie.
Okay, Pauser, I'm going to let you talk, for 1 second. Before I go, I want to say goodbye to Neil Hadley, our operator here, because this is Neil's last night before we say goodbye tomorrow night.
It's been a slice, Don.
Okay, I appreciate that, Neil. Thanks for all your work. Neil Hadley, operator here at CKNW. Trust me, the show goes downhill when Neil's not around. Okay, Pauser, you got about 45 seconds. Just tell people out there we're going to say goodnight now, and I want you to just tell people what you think is wrong with the Canucks and how you can help them.
Okay, Donnie, I have something to say to every listener out there. If you want to know what's wrong with the Canucks, you go out and get yourself some voicemail. Tell us whatever you have to do. It comes as cheap as $4 a month. And I will send into your voicemail my daily commentary. And then you will hear in great detail what's wrong with the Canucks. It'll be a constructive discourse. I'm not out to demean or put down anybody. I love every player that plays in the National Hockey League. I am simply one who loves to enlighten educate.